Hi, Tian. Good to see you.
Thanks, Deb. Thanks for having me
Yeah, I
today.
mean, you are a CEO, an investor, a board member, a mentor for many entrepreneurs and investor funds. I know you've been recognized for diversity and innovation, I think multiple years running. And you also play a big role in the DC, Baltimore area healthcare and technology communities. You're also founder and host of the Big Idea CONNECTpreneur Forum, which is one of the many reasons I wanted to have you here today. And even though we've known each other for a while, I have to ask you, how on earth did you get from where you started to where you are today? What's your story, Tien?
Well, I'm really looking forward to chatting with you, Deb. And yeah, I don't know. Where do you want me to start on the story?
You can go back to New York. You can
New Jersey.
New
New
Jersey.
Jersey.
Oh
I'm
my
from New
gosh,
Jersey.
I'm so
Born
sorry.
and raised,
All my friends in New
yep, born and
Jersey.
raised in New Jersey.
Yeah.
Yep, I love New Jersey, Jersey Shore area. It's great people, tremendous food, and I really am so grateful that I grew up in New Jersey. And I still have some good friends up there and family up there as well. So yeah, so I grew up in New Jersey, and we were in a small little town on the Jersey Shore, two Chinese families. There was us, and we had the restaurant. The other family had the dry cleaner. So, just a typical immigrant story. I went to a Catholic high school. I played tennis. So I wound up going to college, and I played tennis for 1 year in college, and went there as a pre-med, but I graduated as a political theory
Oh wow,
major, which is exactly.
those are sort of different ends of a spectrum.
Yeah, I thought I think my whole family wanted me to be a medical doctor. My older cousin, who's 3 years older, he went to Harvard and Harvard Med. So I was sort of following in his footsteps. And when I decided I didn't want to be a doctor, I took a lot of the prerequisite science and math courses. And I'm very interested in those topics, and I still am.
Yes.
Now, obviously, you mentioned earlier we do a lot in the healthcare life sciences space, but it just didn't. I wasn't super passionate about it, but I really liked philosophy, political theories especially, and that got me hooked. So basically, that's what I majored in: government with a concentration in political theory, and then I had 3 startups in college, and that was a nice way to make some extra money. And then when I got out of college, I did another startup with my best friend, and that failed. And we learned a lot from there. Then I moved to DC to have a job in the commercial real estate sector. And then I got into law school and I went to law school at night, but then I dropped out because I realized I'm doing this mostly for the wrong reasons, and I was never going to practice. So I decided to end that and got a job in commercial real estate investment and did that for a few years and realized, I'm from a family of entrepreneurs where my parents are both entrepreneurs, and my mom's dad and my uncles, we're all they're all entrepreneurs, and that's all I knew. So growing up, I just always had a feeling I was going to have my own business. So then I started my own business back in the fall of '91.
And then you went on from there and started a number of businesses.
Yeah, the business we started wound up growing to have 2,300 employees, almost 80 million in annual revenue. Yeah, we had offices in 6 different states. It was global competition. The niche was a tech-enabled services business, so business process outsourcing and customer care. Today they call it customer experience. So that sort of was our area of expertise. We were one of the 10 largest privately held companies in that world, and sold it to a public company after 12 years. We grew it from zero, basically.
Wow.
My partners and I. Yeah, we got some private equity funding along the way, sold it to a public company called ACS, which was then bought by Xerox, and now the company, or the legacy revenue, and a lot of our employees are still there, actually. But the legacy revenue is around $3 billion. If you add it all up, it's one of the largest CRM contact center operations.
That's amazing.
In the world.
I mean, so it wasn't that it just lasted for 12 years and you sold it. It's that it is today active and generating huge value and returns and jobs.
Yes, around the world, not just in the United States, but that's the best feeling is to see something that we helped, well, that we created, become part of a larger company, a public company, and serve great customers and continue thriving. And a lot of the processes and reporting structures that we put in place at the very beginning, and which we modified prior to selling the company, are still in use today. Yeah, it's great.
So you weren't satisfied with just one company?
Well, after we sold, I wound up getting more involved in investment. So when I built CyberRep, which was the name of my company, we did buy two companies. We bought a company in California and we bought a company in Oregon. So after I exited, I stayed on for a year to help with client transition and just company transition. I'm still, it's funny, from time to time, I'm still a resource to them, to my former people, and also to the company on different things, you know, and I'll always be. So, because it's sort of, you know, it's our legacy. But I started getting involved in angel investment. I invested in some venture funds. I invested directly in some companies. Kind of did a little bit of everything. Wound up buying two smaller tech companies, one in the ed tech space and one in the cloud services space. So we did have some experience buying companies. We bought three companies at CyberRep, and then wound up buying a couple companies afterwards on our own, my partners and me.
So you sort of, you created a company with your partners, grew this company, sold the company, and then went through the process of buying more companies. So you know the ropes on both the buying side and the selling side. How did that sort of, or what role did that play in your next pivot?
Well, yeah, we found businesses that we thought had a lot of potential upside based on our networks and some expertise that we could bring to the table and customer relationships and even some people. So that was sort of the thinking behind, you know, buying these businesses. These companies were not 80 million in revenue. They were much smaller than that, but they were in different niche areas that we thought would be very good, like ed tech, LMS integration, learning analytics, for example, for Lumius. And then, you know, Lore is now a government contractor for the most part. We did sell off our commercial portfolio, but at the time we were getting into cloud. Cloud was getting hot, and we wanted to jump on the trend. And so those were the reasons we bought those businesses.
And then you created CONNECTpreneur. Is that sort of what came next?
Yeah, CONNECTpreneur was 12 years ago.
And what is it?
So so it's a global community of investors and entrepreneurs and service professionals. We have maybe 25,000 people have attended our events over the last 12 years.
Globally.
It's global now. Yeah, we run the largest virtual investor pitch event with between 300 and 1,000 people on each call. We do those monthly, although we're going to scale that back. I think we're going to do 9 next year because people are getting Zoom fatigue, and I think people are now, you know, they like doing it online, but I think they want to do more in person. So we were doing 8 in-person events prior to COVID, and now we're back to doing 8.
But you're going to keep the Zoom. You're going to keep some Zoom.
Yes, we're going to keep the Zoom. Instead of doing 12 a year, we'll probably do 9 a year. So we've done almost 100 events total, including the virtual events. So yeah, like this year we will have done, I think, 19 or 20 events. So, you know, 1 a month on the virtual side, and then I think 7 or 8 in person. So, and we're in Baltimore for the in-person. We've been in Howard County, Montgomery County, Maryland, DC. We do 2 a year in DC. This year we did 3. Northern Virginia, Tyson's Corner is where we started this thing. And it was started as a way for people like myself to connect with others. So as an investor entrepreneur, I'm looking for other investors to co-invest with, other entrepreneurs, other opportunities. And there was nothing in this area in the Mid-Atlantic
Yeah.
area, the DC, Maryland, Virginia, and the greater Mid-Atlantic, that was a forum where investors and entrepreneurs could get together on a regular basis and work together and try to create something. So that's what CONNECTpreneur wound up becoming. Initially it was just a meetup in Northern Virginia of a bunch of my investor buddies and a bunch of my CEO buddies, and we'd all get in a room and spend a few hours together, and we'd have some of the companies would pitch. Initially, we had co-investors from some of the companies that I had invested in, as well as CEOs of companies that I had invested in and their buddies. But we've had 1,100 companies present over the last 12 years, and half of them have gotten funding from investors that they met through the CONNECTpreneur platform.
Wow. And
so that's something we're very proud of.
As you should be. And do you, in the in-person events,
Yep.
don't you have like a couple hundred people usually attending these events?
Yes, pre-COVID we had 400 to 600 people in person, and post-COVID the numbers are down, 250-ish to 300.
Even
so maybe,
it'll no doubt grow as people get back into the swing of it. And then on Zoom, do you have that when you do your Zoom meetings? Is there an equivalency there?
Yeah, it's been dropping. So in 2020 we had our Zoom license at the time maxed at 1,000 simultaneous users. So we had several events with 1,000 people on, and we run these as meetings, so you can see each other. It's not a webinar where you don't know how many people are on. Like, we are very, very transparent about who's on. We identify, you can see them on the Brady Bunch thing. So, but no, I think this year we started dropping. So we would, we dropped down to maybe 250 to 300 now is a pretty good number, depending. Still the largest in the world. Being big is great. We want to be the best in the world. Okay, so that's what we want to do. And I think we're there or getting there closer, hopefully. But we are the largest, and it's a great forum. I mean, the investors benefit tremendously. We're the alumni companies that have presented. I talk to 2 or 3 alumni every day minimum. 2 or 3, sometimes all day. But they're in the family, they're in the community. Basically, CONNECTpreneur is a community, and it really is a community. We have a Slack channel, we have 11 social media channels, we've got a YouTube channel with 600 or 650 videos of some of our alumni. And it's a resource for all of our companies that have presented and all of the investors that are part of our investor network. And we have 4,000 high net worth, high income accredited investors who have attended our events, who are invited to our private events, and for whom some, rely on us to curate deals for them.
So CONNECTpreneur is kind of the centerpiece, but it sort of feels like you have a lot of rings around that. You have masterminds that we provide. I mean, talk a little bit, because I feel like there's several things going on with CONNECTpreneur in the middle.
So when we created the community, and we didn't create it to make money, we just created it as a service, right? Because entrepreneurs want money, and there's no place they can go, and investors want opportunities, and there were very limited places where they could go. So that was the sort of genesis of the idea, and we've stayed true to that true north. That's sort of where we're headed, and will always be. And making money is important now, but it's not primary reason why we're doing it. We still want to have an impact, and we want to do the right thing, and be the ultimate go-to resource on the East Coast and maybe nationally, as a place where entrepreneurs can count on us to introduce them to a bunch of investors, and investors can count on us to put the best presentations up on stage. So I'm forgetting your original question.
You have links around CONNECTpreneur. You have masterminds and other things.
Yeah, so community. So we have a community manager, we have an assistant community manager, we have a head of marketing, we have 2 part-time resources on top of them. So as part of the community, we wanted to say what would make people love what CONNECTpreneur does. So education is one, right? So networking for sure. Entrepreneurs meeting investors is definite. Entrepreneurs meeting other entrepreneurs is awesome. They can mentor each other. And investors meeting other investors is critical, because they want to co-invest together. And investors looking for great deals. So, but part of the circles that you're talking about, the rings around, include things like, so we started doing master classes. We just tried at first. We had a couple of experts, ambassadors. We have an ambassador program with like 80 or 90 ambassadors. I think you're one of them, and Beth is one. And our ambassadors help promote our events to presenters, to investors, to the general public. But we had a couple that had great ideas to educate the group. So I said, yes, if you will not advertise, do any advertising, you provide original content and make it interactive, then we'd love to have you do a master class. And we've done a bunch of them. We've got, I don't know, 30 or 40 on our YouTube channel. But we were doing them a little too often. At one point, we were doing like 3 to 4 per month. Now we're doing 1 a month maybe. And it's all different topics of interest, but I definitely want something unique. Otherwise, someone can just Google it and find it on YouTube. They don't need us for that. And it's got to be interactive. Otherwise, people just wait for the video to come out. So we want to make it interactive so you're missing out if you're not there. And the no sales thing is definitely, that's the most important thing. And ironically, or as a benefit, some of our masterclass instructors have gotten business out of it. So sometimes when you don't sell, you generate more leads, you know. You know this as a marketing person. We've tried some things that didn't work. We had something called Founder Fridays where we would have office hours for myself and some of my team. And we would do every Friday morning for a few hours. We'd have it's open to our alumni only. And we would do these Friday morning virtual coffees where we would talk about their problems and, you know, what we can do to help them. We did that for about 8-9 sessions, and then we decided to stop because we didn't think it was really beneficial. But we have a Slack channel, so the Slack channel's got 4,000 people on it, and people use it to communicate with each other. And you know, hey, I'm looking to hire someone, or hey, what do you think of this investor? What do you think of this company? You know, I'm coming out to San Francisco. Does anyone live out there? Can you want to meet up? So the Slack channel is a great tool for people the community to stay in touch. And then we have multiple social media channels on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. So, you know, that's more of a long tail stuff. And because we're now a global audience, it's good for people from outside the DMV region to see what we're doing.
And you've had some events. So for instance, I know you had a healthcare, and it might have been healthcare tech, but I know it was a healthcare conference up in, you know, northern or up in Maryland somewhere. And I was able to attend that for a little while, but you had some, I remember you were doing panels, you had some investors who were talking to the entrepreneurs in the room about pitches. That's connected to CONNECTpreneur too.
Yeah, that was part of the CONNECTpreneur forum. The focus there, because we were at Johns Hopkins, was a healthcare. That's right. We had a lot of investors that cared about healthcare. We have a lot of companies that were presenting, and a lot of also we did one at in Rockville, Maryland, and that was a lot of healthcare also. Healthcare investors, healthcare entrepreneurs. So post-COVID, you know, most of the companies presenting at CONNECTpreneur in tech, different types of tech. But post-COVID, we've gotten more healthcare, life sciences, health tech companies. I think that maybe COVID, one of the few silver linings of this whole COVID pandemic is that people started coming up with great ideas to cure illnesses and improve the human condition. So that's one kind of good thing. So we've seen a lot of those companies come through CONNECTpreneur, whereas traditionally health tech, healthcare, and life sci would have been maybe 25% of our total. Post-COVID, it's more than half.
So it's really fascinating because you have 12 years ago, you created this idea, CONNECTpreneur, and rings of ways to support the community, you know, as you describe it, have come out. But this is a major operation. You're doing all these events. They're world-class events. You know, they run on time. The trains are running on time. People are attending. I mean, I'm sure everything is not as perfect as it appears behind the scenes, but it's perfect. And so you're running an events business too, whether you call it that or not, right?
It is an events business. We're in the events management business. Yeah, I mean, with the goal of helping investors find great deals and entrepreneurs find investors. And I think the one thing I wrote a Medium post about this years and years ago. When I started CONNECTpreneur, I wanted to create an event that was so good for me. And the nice thing about CONNECTpreneur is I'm like the ideal avatar. I'm the target buying persona for CONNECTpreneur. I'm an entrepreneur, technology orientation, investor. So I wanted to do an event that people like myself would never want to miss. That was the thing.
Yes.
It's got to be so good, I will never miss
Right.
it. I will cancel my flights
Right.
to go to this event.
Yeah.
And I think that for people that are like my
Mhm.
avatar, indeed, it
Mhm.
is. I'm biased, of course,
Mhm.
but it is a great event. It's been touted as the best event in the Mid Atlantic by media. You can Google that, and I think it is. Like for me, it may not be the best event for someone who's interested in sports or interested in politics or whatever, but for people that are interested in
Yeah.
technology, it absolutely is. Is
Yeah.
strong.
Yeah. So I know we'll put something in the write up of ways to reach you, but who should be reaching out to your organization to get involved in this community?
Yeah, we're always looking for ambassadors, presenting companies, more investors to join. They can find me on Twitter, Tian Wong. I'm easily findable on LinkedIn as well, Tian Wong. And our community manager, Skylar Rallis, and she's findable as well. And yeah, you can just, if you want to be an ambassador, you get free admission to our events. And, we don't have a heavy lift or requirement for people that want to be our ambassadors. So, yeah, we're always welcoming more people to our community.
Yeah. So it's really, I think, amazing what you've built, and you seem to extend that community in different ways. So what you haven't spoken about, and I don't really see in your LinkedIn, is that you are also a pickleball aficionado, quite the competitor, I may say, not across the net from you, but seeing you across the pond there, across the several nets. So how did you get into that, and how does that fit into your business, if at all?
Well, it doesn't really fit into my business except that it's fun. But I'm a tennis player, always have been, and always will be.
Yeah.
And so I like racket sports.
Yeah.
I played a year in college. I played all through high school, and even after college, I still play
Yes.
tennis. And then
Good for
pickleball is
you.
the fastest growing sport in the U.S. So Jeanette Lee, our mutual
Yeah.
friend, is addicted to it and started a group called P-Suite, which is for, instead of C-Suite, it's P-Suite. So C-level people who want to play pickleball.
Right.
And she does these monthly events out in Northern
Yep.
Virginia, and it's a lot of fun. I like the social engagement and the fun aspect of
Yes.
it, but it doesn't really tie into business. I don't own any part of P Suite. It's just
Yeah.
something that we help promote because she's a friend, and I think it's a great sport, and always looking to have people find new ways of having fun and staying healthy. So that's how I got into pickleball.
So, I'll just say, to tie it in a little bit to this conversation, you did invite me, and I came out the one time, and I should, in full transparency, say of the ranking of 1 to 34, I began as number 34. I ended the evening as number 43, but I was surrounded by people who seemed to appreciate me being there nonetheless. But you managed to just create a community there. So it's like it's a thing with you. You just have this ability to create community, create conversation, get people engaged and interested. What does that relate to? Does that go back to your parents? Were they like that, or did you just become this person?
Not so much. I think, well, my dad had restaurants. They used to throw parties, Chinese New Year parties, and have a lot of friends over. But I think the creation of community came out of necessity. Like we wanted to get a group of people to CONNECTpreneur. That was out of necessity. And we didn't even care about the financial aspects.
Yeah.
It was like, let's just get something going here
Yes.
and provide a service for the community and have something awesome that people would want to go to. And I think same thing with pickleball. Like, we don't have a community, so let's go find some people that are interested in racket sports and pickleball, and we can have fun and network. And business is getting done, by the way. You have 40 to 60 people at every event, and a lot of these people are executives, and business is getting done, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. Sure.
But yeah, I think it's very organic. It's not really planned or strategically done. In some ways, I wonder if it would be quality would be as good, and trust in the relationships would be as good if it were strategically done. In some ways, I love the fact that it was done organically. I love the fact that our community was grown organically over 12 years, by the way. So it wasn't like, poof, here it is. It's, and I get, just Skylar, myself, our team, we engage with the people in our group.
Yeah.
We talk to them, we have calls with them, we try to help them, and yeah, it's kind of it's a different thing. I don't even know if there's an analog out there. I can't think of any other groups like ours.
Yeah, there's probably no category.
I do a ton of Zoom calls every week with alumni. Just we're not consultants. We don't charge. Yes, they charge a fee to present, and in return for that, they get permanent free admission to all of our events. They get introductions to investors. I mentioned earlier, half of our presenters have gotten funding, but it's a permanent relationship. It's almost like a membership in a club kind of thing, if you wanted to think of something similar to it. But and for us, it's our baby. It's a passion project. If I calculated our return on the hours we put in, it would be very, very low. But the financial return, but the sort of psychic return, feel-good return, the give-back return is infinite. And it's been great for my brand. It's been great for the CONNECTpreneur is now its own kind of self-sustaining animal. It's got its own social media handles and things like that. So, and it's kind of, I mean, from an ego gratification standpoint, it's great to know that it's really well known around. I mean, that doesn't get us anything, but I feel good. Hey, we were part of this thing, and we helped 500 plus companies get funding.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
Really, I feel great because think about the contribution to jobs and to technology and to, we don't trace it, we don't track it, we have no idea, but I know just intuitively that if you help 500 companies raise capital. A lot of good has been done.
Yes, it has for sure. And
not everyone's going to succeed, right? Some of them fail, but
that's
some
the
of them
nature.
get a lot. But
nature of entrepreneurship, right?
Yeah.
It's interesting though, because when I sort of reflect as we're talking here, you make me, and you probably ran your businesses like this in terms of seeing the workplace as a community, and I'm thinking about perhaps what is the message here that you might have for entrepreneurs or even just CEOs who may listen in on this episode, that thinking in terms of the community. It's bigger than the person is more important than the specific job that they do, whatever the activity is in the company, that there's more to it than simply showing up, leading the meetings, making sure the financial statements are working, to make the business grow as a community, create a place of impact for people, both in the company and in the community that surrounds the company. I mean, is that how you ran your businesses? Do you think there's something to that idea for CEOs of businesses today?
Oh, definitely today, yes. I mean, we live in the world is smaller and smaller and smaller, and we have technology that makes it really small. So if you're not building a community, then you're leaving. It's not a good move for you long term. Let's put it that way, because technology is going to hack everything, but it's hard for technology to hack community and human-to-human contact. It'll be hacked at some point.
I love that.
Maybe not in 10 or 20 years, but still, that's the last frontier, is sort of for technology and tools to replace human-to-human true connectivity, right? But when I ran my business, it was different. It was centered around the customer. It was always centered around the clients. What do they need? How can we do everything to their complete satisfaction? Like, satisfaction wasn't good enough. It had to be make them happy, thrill the customer was sort of the approach we took. So we were very, very hands-on, my team and I, in making sure, and these are Fortune 500 clients, so that from your days at Marriott, but we're working with Merck, we're working with Sprint, AT&T, Microsoft, huge brands. In fact, almost our entire customer base was Fortune 100 companies. But we were able to, deliver for them, because I knew that in some cases we had competition also helping these companies. I said, we have to be number one or number two vendor for every client. Otherwise we'll get fired, So it was not just a survival thing, but also inside, maybe it's the restaurant background I had, but wanted to make them super happy. I want them to have an experience with us that is, they can't get it anywhere else. And, with CONNECTpreneur, it's the same kind of thing. Our presenters are our customers because they pay us. Our sponsors are our customers because they pay us. We want to deliver tons of value to our sponsors. Sponsors are doing it because they want leads. So I'll even go in and make personal introductions to give them leads. Yeah, I mean, like nobody, well, not nobody, but not a lot of people do it. But we have such a obsession with making our sponsors happy and making our presenters happy that we'll do that. And our investors are not paying customers, but they are constituents. So we want them to have a good experience. So we have to introduce them to the best entrepreneurs or the best opportunities that are out there. So I think as long as we maintain a unmatched customer experience, to borrow the phrase from my favorite accounting firm, Forvis, that's basically what we're doing. We want to have unmatched customer experience for all the constituencies involved with CONNECTpreneur.
And I can't think of a better end note in this episode than that, and perhaps a challenge to CEOs of other companies to look to do the same. So thank you for being here today, Tian. Really enjoyed it. I learned more about you, and I thought I knew a bit about you, but I know your commitment, your passion, that you are persistent and willing to go well out of your way to help people. So thank you for going well out of your way to join me here today.
No, thanks for having me, Deb. My pleasure, and I'm looking forward to seeing the video. And thanks for the opportunity as always.
Absolutely. All right. Take care.